I love stories, and fantasy is one of the most increasingly popular genres today.
Hello, guys, and welcome to Science Says Watch. My name is Sayan Abad, and today we are going to count down our top picks for the top 10 best writers of the fantasy genre in the 21st century, who are still active today.
Number 10. George R.R. Martin. Whether you are a fan or not, you would recognize this name if you have heard of Game of Thrones or of A Song of Ice and Fire, because this rich, bloody saga about political power and fantastical medieval drama is what George R.R. Martin is best known for. However, fantasy is not his only genre. He had been an aficionado of science fiction as well. His first sci-fi novel, A Song for Laia, was a Hugo Award winner, and his first novel, Dying of the Light, was also sci-fi. However, we've ranked him at the bottom of the list because ever since the reception of the last seasons of Game of Thrones and the announcement that he has no intent to finish writing the next work in his famous series, his writing activity has slowed, leaving fans disheartened, displeased, and disenchanted. Number 9. Victoria Aveyard. She is known for her epic dystopian fantasy novel series Red Queen and its subsequent novellas, which describe the universe of red and silver-blooded people and tell the journey of Mare Barrow, the protagonist, a red who discovers she has supernatural powers that should belong to a silver and sparks a revolution.
We have ranked her second to last because she has been involved in several controversies, particularly related to plagiarism and the use of generative AI in her writing.
Number 8. Sarah J. Maas.
You've seen her name on bookstore shelves in your area.
Sarah J. Maas is known for her hit romantasy series Throne of Glass, A Court of Thorns and Roses, and Crescent City. The first two are loose epic adaptations of the classic fairy tales Cinderella and Beauty and the Beast, while the third is an original series. The greatest feature of Maas's books are her characters, praised for their morally gray ideologies and her depiction of women empowerment. We've ranked her lower than one might expect, however, because many critics have been withdrawing support from her, considering her to be controversial. One of the most common reasons she has been labeled problematic is due to a lack of representation and diversity in her books.
Nowadays, people would consider a work inclusive and respectful if it included themes of LGBTQ, cultural diversity, and more.
Number 7. Elizabeth Lim. Now this is another author known for amazing adaptations of classic fairy tales. Elizabeth Lim is a young adult fantasy author known for her best-selling works based on classic fairy tales and epics infused with or influenced by East Asian folklore and mythology. This is exemplified in the Six Crimson Cranes duology, based on Hans Christian Andersen's The Wild Swans, and the Blood of Stars duology, based on Disney's Mulan. She has also written many books in Disney's Twisted Tales series, where the classic fairy tales of Disney have taken alternate routes based on what-if scenarios that lead down darker narratives but still arrive at a happily ever after. Elizabeth Lim cites that she has always been inspired by the many East Asian folk tales and legends she was told as a child, declaring this as the drive for her to become an author in the first place. Number 6. Andrew Peterson. This author is unique in that he is not just a writer, he is also a musician. Andrew Peterson is a devout Christian, and he shows it in both his music and his writing. He plays folk rock, roots rock, country, blues, and country gospel. His faith is also the main inspiration for his literary works. In 2007, Andrew Peterson published The Ballad of Matthew's Begats, but he is best known for his 4-book fantasy series, The Wingfeather Saga. Centered around the adventurous Wingfeather family, the saga tells of a fantasy world overrun by evil, with the family being the last hope for the world. They go on the run from the fangs of Dang and their master, Nag the Nameless, all while discovering secrets of their family history and undergoing deep spiritual journeys individually and as a family. It is a hallmark of Christian literature featuring underlying Christian themes in its narrative, with the most telling being the characters' journeys mirroring biblical archetypes, and the struggle between good and evil, light and darkness. We've ranked him towards the lesser half of the series because he is still building on his fame as a writer, and as he is more well known for his music. Number 5. Philip Pullman. You would have heard of him if you know the HBO series His Dark Materials, because it was based on his infamous novel series of the same name. Sir Philip Pullman is best known for the fantasy trilogy His Dark Materials, but he is also known for the Book of Dust, the Sally Lockhart series, and several children's stories like The Gasfitter's Ball and The Firework Maker's Daughter. Philip Pullman is known for incorporating science in his writing, however fantastical it may be. What sets him as a master of the fantasy genre is his ability to weave complex narratives based on profound philosophical debates about religion, science, morality, and possibility. He believes in writing fantasy in a realistic sense, and that fantasy is, and I quote, a great vehicle when it serves the purpose of realism. Number 4. Ilona Andrews. The fun part is that the name Ilona Andrews is not tied to a single author. In fact, it is tied to a husband and wife writer duo. Ilona and Andrew Gordon are a married couple of writers in urban fantasy, science fiction, and paranormal fiction. Their debut novel was Magic Bites, the first in the Kate Daniels series published in 2007. They have since published other novel series, such as The Edge, The Innkeeper Chronicles, Hidden Legacy, and Breach Wars, all within 2014 to 2026 and ongoing. What makes the writing of Ilona Andrews amazing is that the husband and wife build off each other's ideas and critiques to make stories that are both compelling and relatable. Andrew personally described writing together like marriage. You have to realize the other person has strengths that compensate for your weaknesses. Number 3. Rick Riordan. All of Percy Jackson fans, pay homage to your GOAT. Rick Riordan's name is directly tied to his iconic modern mythology adventure series Percy Jackson and the Olympians, and its sequels, spin-offs, related books, and related media. But that is not the only side of the mythology in modern times universe he has made. He has also written The Kane Chronicles and Magnus Chase and the Gods of Asgard, which feature respectively ancient Egyptian gods and the Aesir. Riordan's mythology in modern times adventures had inspired many other fantasy authors to write stories connected to ancient mythologies in the modern day. The only thing keeping him from the top of this list is that there are greater grandmasters in the overall fantasy genre. Number 2. Neil Gaiman. This man has many stories under his belt. You would know him as the man who wrote The Sandman and Good Omens and Coraline, all beloved movies and TV series you might be familiar with because they are based on his books. He was also the co-creator for Good Omens and The Sandman, but he has also written, more recently, Anansi Boys in 2005, The Graveyard Book in 2008, and in 2013, The Ocean at the End of the Lane. Gaiman's storytelling style is characterized by its accessibility, poetic tone, and conversational language, which makes even fantastical elements feel relatable. His writings incorporate the power of imagination in the narrative, and what makes his style stand out is its emotional core. His ability to find the human in the divine and tackle big ideas of faith, death, the human experience, the concept of divinity, and imagination, as perceived by the limits of the human mind. And finally, number 1, Brandon Sanderson. Brandon Sanderson is perhaps the most famous of modern fantasy authors, and for many good reasons. First and foremost, there's the Cosmere, Sanderson's fictional universe that ties together most of his fantasy works, including Elantris, Mistborn, and the Stormlight Archive. He is also notable for completing Robert Jordan's The Wheel of Time after Jordan's death. He was handpicked by Jordan's wife, and he used the author's notes to bring a satisfying conclusion to the books. Sanderson is also respected for his aid and encouragement towards budding writers, including his A Writing Excuses podcast and his creative writing lectures that are freely available on YouTube. Furthermore, he is known for Sanderson's laws of magic, which describe the difference between hard magic and soft magic in speculative fiction, along with how to make the magic serve the story well. But he's perhaps most famous for being a prolific writing machine. In less than 2 decades, he's published 31 novels, 18 novellas, 4 graphic novels, and many short stories. And now, he's working with Apple TV to produce and write the screenplay for a Mistborn film franchise and a TV adaptation of the Stormlight Archive.
So there we have it, ladies and gentlemen, the top 10 writers of the fantasy genre in the 21st century. Do you agree with my picks? Whether yes or no, feel free to leave your thoughts in the comments below, and if yes, then don't forget to hit subscribe for more videos on Science Says Watch. Thanks for watching, everybody. This is Sayan, signing off.